So Peter Parker has essentially quit being Spider-Man. He retired. After seeing the death of literally everyone he knew and loved, he gave up on being a hero of New York, forcing the X-Men to step in. Unfortunately, this is the worst time for him to do so, as Earth and the entire dimension is being attacked by Cyttorak. But this is AJ here at the Hero Informer, and let's get into it. So with Spider-Man being no more at this point, we see just normal Peter Parker enjoying a little bit of downtime with Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat of all people, off just lazing around. And while this happens, while Felicia tries to be a good friend to Peter and help him, cheer back up, Peter still isn't blind to the things happening in the very city, as he even goes on to say, "As she leaves me alone, I hear a quiet buzz in the back of my head. The tingle of magic. One of Cyttorak's powerful scions have came to New York. I try to care, but it just doesn't work." Because yes, Peter has become super indifferent, and almost not even indifferent, he just straight up doesn't care about the consequences. Because in his perspective, no matter what he does, the people he saves, the objective betterment he does as Spider-Man, in the end, he thinks it just doesn't matter. But across town, we see the consequences of Spider-Man giving up, as when a powerful scion arrives, the other heroes in New York, specifically the mutants and the X-Men, step up to the plate to defend the people here, the innocent civilians. And these X-Men here, they're no slouchers in power. They have some decently heavy hitters such as Magic, Psylocke, Cyclops, etc. But even as they go to attack him, this scion of Cyttorak is so powerful that really their attacks amount to nothing, just slight annoyances at best. Because unlike Spider-Man, who was given the direct magical counterparts and instructions and knowledge how to take these guys on, the X-Men don't have that. Fortunately though, they have someone who draws from the same power force with Juggernaut himself, who is also empowered by Cyttorak. Meaning, if anyone can do it, it's definitely Juggernaut. And even while this is happening, two people drawing on the same power source from Cyttorak himself watches from a whole other dimension away. But Cyttorak shows no emotion and almost doesn't care either which way what happens, as these two very powerful brutes just start pummeling and beating on each other, causing destruction and mayhem across New York. And of course, with fighting villains straight in the public comes destruction of not only property, but innocent civilians, as we see some people get caught in the crossfire, specifically Aunt May herself with Feast. Now this is going to play a big part later on, but for now, just know, because Peter wants to quit in the situation he is in now, the people close to him, Aunt May specifically in this case, are in danger. But the X-Men continue to do their best to hold him off as much as they can, as we see Peter just being a bum lounging in Felicia's apartment. Though this isn't happening and everyone's turning a blind eye to this, as Doctor Strange flies in himself to try and talk a little sense into Peter, snap him out of this little mojo that he is in. But this situation is getting bigger than anyone could have imagined, because it's not just Cyttorak and the Covenant in this little game that they're playing and have to uphold. Something happened, a twist in the story, that even Doctor Strange himself starts to worry, because as he goes on to say, I should not even be here, as there are other world-ending problems that I need to attend to. But right now, I have to tell you about something called the blight. And this isn't even an option for Peter. Steven goes on to say, whether you like it or not, you're going to hear what I have to say about it. And thankfully, we don't just get it explained to us verbally, we actually get shown what happened and how this started. Because as we move over with Calyx, with him inside of Cyttorak's dimension, we see him fed up with his father almost ignoring him and him being a sore loser, losing at Spider-Man. He's going to do something very drastic. Seeking attention, he's going to do something that, frankly, is pretty stupid, going beyond the casket. Something that no one has done before, which is essentially just a little dome that Cyttorak's power and what his father's domain is over. A protective shell, if you will. Protecting from what, you may ask? What is so powerful that even Cyttorak himself needs a little shield over? Well, it is something very old and very powerful. The blight, which is almost corruption incarnate. And unfortunately, as Calyx is here, a piece of it gets on him, and it will slowly infect him. And the thing about it is, it's almost like a zombie infection. So yes, it will infect one person, but it almost never stops there. Because as you see, Calyx fully gets taken over, changing his appearance and making him seem more dark, sinister. But not only does he get exponentially more powerful, but he is going to seek to infect everything and everyone else, because this new entity known as the Blight has almost universal range of power, causing chaos and decay in whatever it spreads to, with us even seeing Doctor Strange explain it in his own way with him first meeting it, saying, when I first encountered the blight, it nearly destroyed me. I tried to study it because that's who I am, but the more I learned, the more I realized it was a threat to not only Earth, but everything he held dear. But it was just a wasted effort, because the blight is eternal, it is a force of nature. It solely exists to extinguish life. Even if the story would have stopped there, that's still bad enough, but it goes deeper. Because as we find out, Doctor Strange not only searched for a way to destroy the blight through this reality, and countless others that Peter couldn't even start to imagine. And there was only one real option, the spell for the casket. So yes, this casket of sorts, this protective shell, was in part created because Doctor Strange made a bargain and deal with Cyttorak, getting a piece of his power to create this now shell in exchange for the Covenant. You know, this game where Cyttorak sends his children to fight against the champion of Earth, the thing that Spider-Man is in right now, and that the casket is the only thing protecting them from the blight, in which, like I said, the blight seeks to prune all life, and does so through something called soul rot, an endless torture, where living things seek out the thing they love the most and destroy them. And you know, this all sounds horrible, something that Doctor Strange is presenting as almost inevitable if Peter doesn't get back on the battlefield and become the champion and help defend. Yes, you guessed it, still nothing good, as he goes on to say, I understand what you're saying, Strange, but does it even matter? Yes, we may save the people from that, but then something bad or even worse just comes again later anyway. I wish you and all the X-Men all the luck in the world. Essentially still being firm in no, it doesn't matter. Yes, this new almost cosmic universal threat may destroy everything he holds dear, but it's gonna happen anyway and he might as well not try now. Which in case Doctor Strange just straight up leaves, seeing Peter as almost a lost cause at this point. But even as Strange leaves, we do find out that he didn't come alone. Now he brought someone very interesting with him. Syra, yes, the child of Cyttorak, who frankly was the start and the reason for Peter being this way, making him personally feel and experience the millions of deaths all throughout the world, and throwing him into this little state of depression he is in now, as she is taking a little bit of a fascination with Peter. Peter is unlike any other mortal she has seen, including Doctor Strange. But while Peter is here in this apartment getting talks from other allies and antagonists alike, we see utter chaos reigning off on the city below, as the X-Men continue their battle fighting with this scion of Cyttorak. Fortunately and surprising, the X-Men actually seem to win, making the scion of Cyttorak yield. But their little victory here is very short-lived, as an even greater threat looms on the horizon. As soon as he gives up, a fist plunges through his chest, taking him out and killing him once and for all. As we find out, it is none other than Calylex who brings the blight with him, sneaking in and invading the protective shell altogether. And from the way Doctor Strange is portraying it, once the blight gets here, it's almost nothing they can do. Earth, and the universe at large, is almost certainly doomed. But the X-Men aren't just going to sit around and watch this new villain appear here. They're going to go in and see what they can stop, see what they can do. And with Juggernaut just taking out one of the other scions of Cyttorak beforehand, he thinks this guy is just another one, another one he can pummel with his fist and call it a day. But as we see, that is far from the truth, as his new entity, the Blight, stops his momentum with one hand, which is something that usually isn't supposed to be the case. No one can stop the Juggernaut once he starts moving. But here we see he is one of the few people powerful enough to do so, as he just tosses him to the side. The X-Men's heaviest hitter down in just one singular attack. And now Calylex is not only going to stop there, no, he's going to rain chaos and destruction through Earth itself, trying to get his father's attention being controlled by this entity within any method he can, all while Syra watches from afar, seeing not only one brother die, but another being taken over. And oh yeah, remember Aunt May from before, how she and everyone at Feast were in the middle of this chaos? Well, things are not going to get any brighter for her, as we see them directly in the next line of attack by Calylex, the Bright, his attack dogs, whatever you want to call it. All we know for now is, with the X-Men down and Spider-Man completely off the table, their very lives are at stake. And spoiler alert, let's just say it doesn't really end pretty for Aunt May. But that is something we're going to get to see next time as this video, an issue, comes to a close. If you have enjoyed, leave a like or subscribe if you're new and enjoy this type of content. As always, this was AJ here at the Hero Informer, and thank you for watching.